Righty, good morning, everybody. Again, Dustin, Gardner, Ventura County Fire Ops Chief, and also sit on the Ops team for FIRESCOPE. Dan, thank you. Thanks for putting this on. There's nothing more difficult in our career than change. There's nothing we hate more than change, except not changing. So, as we heard from all of our vendors yesterday, there's some vital tools out there. There's some things we need. There's some things we want. There's some things the folks we serve deserve, and those that serve under us absolutely need to have. And a couple of those I'm going to talk about today. Being on the FIRESCOPE Ops team, it's our job to take what the direction of the BOD, or the Board of Directors, this is the original FIRESCOPE Board of Directors, pushes work, scope of work, objectives, plans, desires down to us. We have a task force under us that oversees all the specialty groups, and then underneath that, all the specialty groups, the subject matter expert, the actual professionals in the field, whether it be from GIS, from emerging technology, from comms, from USAR, hazmat, swiftwater, hillside firefighting, structural firefighting, whatever it is, they gather in their groups of 20 and they produce the work. And really great products that we see come through FIRESCOPE comes back up to the task force. The task force revets it, revisit it, make sure it's what they want. We'll send it back down for changes and corrections, brings it back up. The task force will review it again. Once the task force has approved it, it goes back to the ops section chief for approval. We'll make changes, send it back down. So you can see the process. It can take a long time. We realized at this last meeting we had in January that we were missing a couple things. We were missing a couple really important things, and they were dramatically brought to light for me the night of December 4th. I had I'm going to say the fortunate ability to be the incident commander and then one of the unified incident commanders for the Thomas Fire. So I spent the first 18 days there with Assistant Chief Cook sitting up here in the audience as my ops section chief. And we had the ability to leverage every system we had, every system in place. We had the ability to leverage those systems, to test them, to see where their breaking points were, to see where they worked, to see where they didn't work. And one thing we noticed was a direct, just an absolute failure in our CAD systems. We have a fantastic CAD at home. We've spent 10 years developing probably one of the most high-tech, highly tuned operating, precise operating systems in the business. We have a staff of TriTech folks that work for us. They're there for our every need. They're there 24/7 support. Every rig has automatic vehicle locating. Every rig has mobile computing. Every rig can pull maps, driving directions, comm plans, 3D tacticals. They can pull MSDs. They can pull live weather. They can pull real-time data on everything we have. Our first-in officers can go from the scene of a structure fire and start working on one integrated worksheet. They can flip it over as the incident expands to another integrated worksheet through a situational awareness tool at Intero. We can put that up on our maps. We can fly live-time MMA fixed-wing aircraft out of Colorado that give us live developing perimeters. We have the technology there to give our guys the situational awareness to do their jobs effectively, to do it safely, and deliver a good service. And we've been working on this and building this and are proud of it. We've brought in all of our op area partners, City of Oxnard, the City of Ventura, the City of Fillmore. They're all on the same system. We do closest resource dispatching. We monitor each other. We're all on the same page, speaking the same language, fighting fire the same way. And we thought, great, we're doing really well. Then we have the night of the 4th. Then we get past our 58 regional engines. We have them all assigned. We're doing good. Everybody's on there. Chad and I are watching them on the map. We're making resource decisions. We're tracking them. We're accountable for them. Things are going well. And we start 4, 5, 6 hours into this event getting units coming from Verdugo, coming from Orange County, coming from North San Diego, coming from San Jose. Well, these folks are coming in 4 or 5 hours into this incident, code 3, down the freeway with a piece of paper. They have a ROS report in their hand. It gives them an incident number. It gives them a reporting location that 9 times out of 10 we all know is wrong. It's the initial ICP, right? That's not where we want them to go. It gives them a radio channel. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. It might be an administrative channel, it might be an old command channel. It could be an administrative channel for the incident. Comm plan's wrong, reporting location's wrong. There's usually a name, a direct report, right? Well, chances are that's somebody in the ECC, FCC, or expanded dispatch, and they're probably busy. So when you call as the incoming strike team leader and say, hey, where do you want me to go? A lot of times it's hard to get to them. So you're bringing five engines, up to 22 firefighters, code 3, down the freeway, to assist us, and the best we can do is give you a piece of paper. You know more information about the brewery you went to last night because you were able to get to it on Yelp. You could see pictures, you could see maps, you could get driving directions, you could get Yelp reviews, you could know the #1 beer to order, and all that so you could grab a beer. And we're asking you to come and enrich your lives, and we can give you a piece of paper. And we looked at that as a group and went, that's absurd. That's not acceptable. In 2018, one strike team leader gets a piece of paper and expects everybody else to blindly follow him in when we have all of this technology at our fingertips, but we can't share it because we're on different systems. Well, we heard yesterday that interoperability is there, common platforms are there, the language is there, the data is there, the tech is there, everything is there to produce a common operating system, but we can't do it. And I won't speak on anybody's behalf. We're a tri-tech vendor, there's New World vendors, there's Grumman vendors, everybody likes their little systems and everybody supports their little systems, but the systems aren't talking. And they aren't talking because we've never asked them to. So that's something FIRESCOPE looked and we asked, we said, is that acceptable? Are we okay with that? Am I okay with my folks having all of those resources at their fingertips, but when a strike team comes in from Glendale and they report off the freeway, code 3, and Chad gives them an objective of victim rescue and an entire block report directly to branch 3, your job is victim rescue on these 4 streets. That was the assignments we were giving out the first 10 hours of that incident. People were pulling people in their pajamas out of burning buildings, putting them in fire trucks and driving them to safety zones, and they had a piece of paper. So we didn't see that as being acceptable, and when we said it out loud, when we said it together at the FIRESCOPE's group, at the ops group, we went, guys, are we okay with this? And we weren't. We went, no, this isn't acceptable. There's no way, as agency heads, as policymakers, as folks responsible for the safety, efficiency, and really, cost associated with doing business for our folks, there's no way we're not okay with this. So we took it up to the board of directors. We told them we would like to work on an emerging piece of technology and have CAD to CAD integration. And our vision was that through working through our emerging technology group, through our task force, through our SMEs in both communications and emerging technologies and in CAD, they would produce a set of rules, a set of wants, a set of needs that we as fire service leaders could pull from FIRESCOPE. And when we go to do our next RFP or our next RFQ for a CAD contract, we can give our CAD vendor and say, this is what we want. We want connectivity with all of our normal units. We want interface with all of our MDCs. We want interface with our regional partners. But more importantly, when units from Escondido are going to Ventura County, we want to see what Ventura County has. We want their maps. We want their comm plans. We want their radio channels. We want their briefing notes so that our folks are just as informed as their folks. And that's what we're working on. That's one of the main projects we're working on, is to have that vision of all of us having the same data. So Chief, when you send a resource to Ventura County, you can see them on your tablet. You can see them on your MDC. You can dispatch them. He can status en route. He can go on scene, and you can watch him the whole time. So now I have accountability for your resource, and you have accountability for your resource. So when people ask, hey, what are our resources doing? You can tell them. They're doing victim rescue on this street. They're doing fire line following on this street. It gives us the ability. It gives us better situational awareness. It gives us something we should have years ago demanded. When we said it out loud, we looked and went, I can't believe we haven't asked for this. How is it we've all built these great systems and we're not sharing them? We didn't get it. So that was our ask, and that was our ask talking to the Cal Chiefs Committee, is we take our body from FIRESCOPE and we take the power and bodies from Cal Chiefs and we put them together as a California Fire Service and say, this isn't acceptable. We deserve better, our guys deserve better, our citizens deserve better, the system deserves better. It seems pretty simple. Really, when you say it out loud and you look at it, it seems pretty simple. And now we thought we were going to get resistance from the vendors. We thought they were going to want to keep their proprietary information. We thought they were going to want to keep their secret, and come to find out they don't. We're already getting contacted from our vendors asking what they can do to prepare. They see it as a great idea. They understand the importance of it. They want to see the changes. So when we've got guys like Tablet Command and First Do and Esri and Intera, and we've got the players in the room that are producing the spaces, and the tools we need to succeed, when they're all sitting in the same room saying, we understand we need a common operating platform, we need a common operating picture, we've already got half the battle won. We've got the geniuses in the space to produce the products that we need to succeed. So as the fire service leaders, we have to ask, and that's pretty simple. We can come up with an idea, we can come up with a thought and go, I have this great vision that folks from Glendale, folks from Oxnard, folks from Escondido, we can all see the same picture when we're coming to a fire in Yucaipa. We all have the same maps, the same comp plan, the same briefing packages, the same weather, the same intel, and our guys can go to work. It seems like a pretty simple ask, so that's what we're pushing forward in FIRESCOPE. It's just made it through its BOD approval and back down to the ops group, so you should be seeing something, I'm hoping, this year. But as you start to go back and you look at your CAD contracts, you talk to your CAD vendors, you talk to your CAD managers and regional dispatch folks, start looking at your CAD contracts, start looking at things you can do. There's things right now you can do neighbor to neighbor. You can do JSON feeds between agencies. Our CAD and LA County's CAD, we see each other's CAD feeds. We can status each other's rigs, we can watch each other's equipment, and that's literally, it's a phone line. It's a phone line plugged from one server to another server. It was like $3 at Radio Shack, and it brought two CADs completely together. So is it the full functionality we want? No. But is it steps in the right direction? Yes. So start looking at it. That's one of those changes that we can make, that we can empower, give to our folks, and actually increase their safety and our efficiency. The second thing we looked at, and this is a much bigger elephant to eat, and we're taking it literally one bite at a time, is resource ordering. California invented master mutual aid. We invented ICS. We invented common operating platform. We are the mecca of doing this right. Nobody moves resources, mobilizes resources, commits resources, and uses resources on fire and emergency scenes like we do. It's why the rest of the United States has adopted it. It's why emerging countries like Australia, they come and watch us. Brazil, parts of Europe, they watch how we fight fire, they watch how we command fire, they watch how we mobilize troops, and they copy it. We've been the best at master mutual aid, at regionalization, or moving from regions to areas to incidents. But we realized that that system is really good for day 2 of a fire, day 3 of a fire, day 4 of an event. It's not real good for that initial attack. It's not real good for that rapidly expanding incident. And we've realized it in the past when we've seen resource orders to our region be 8 hours behind, be 10 hours behind. Okay, 8 to 10 hours, that's acceptable. When we looked at what happened in Northern California, when we talked to our brothers in Contra Costa and Alameda and San Francisco and South San Francisco and Oakland and Berkeley, and there was hundreds and hundreds of fire trucks sitting in their app bays watching the news unfold in the North Bay, and none of them left because they didn't have resource orders, that's unacceptable. People's lives were lost, people's property was lost, towns were decimated because resource orders couldn't come through quick enough. And we all know that. Everybody that sat as a strike team leader, as a division group soup, as an IC, as an ops chief, it doesn't matter. Everybody that sat and waited for that resource order knows the pain of waiting for a resource order. And when you're sending resource orders to a center that has 2 people, and they're trying to answer calls, dispatch calls, run command traffic, they're just trying to keep themselves alive, resource orders aren't real high on their priority list. So when you hear the first resource orders coming out of Napa Lake and the first resource orders coming out of Northern California were 5-6 hours before the first one started coming out, that's just not acceptable. Again, we looked and went, is that okay? Is it okay that there were hundreds of fire trucks, thousands of firefighters sitting at the ready to go to work, and they couldn't go to work because they didn't have that glorious piece of paper with their inaccurate incident location, with their inaccurate comm plan, with their inaccurate point of contact, with their inaccurate driving ability. They didn't have that, so they couldn't leave. So I can sit at my desk and I can order a set of paddle tires for a motorcycle from Amazon and it'll be delivered by a drone the next day, but I can't get a fire truck in 5 hours. We saw in Montecito another just eye-opening experience in Montecito following mudslides. We all knew from the National Weather Service that there was an inbound storm that was going to cause damage along the Thomas Burn area. It was either going to hit the coast, it was going to veer left and impact Santa Barbara, or it was going to hit the coast and it was going to veer right and impact Ventura County. So Santa Barbara County staffed up, Ventura County staffed up. We staffed up 2 USAR, heavy USAR teams, 2 swift water rescue teams, 5 extra engines, 5 extra patrols, loaders, bulldozers, dump trucks. We staffed up everything we had to prepare for that storm because we knew it was coming. We knew a significant event was coming. Fortunately for us, and very unfortunate for the folks in Montecito and Santa Barbara County, it hit Montecito County. We got a call from our brothers up north and said, hey, we need help. We said, absolutely. We'll send you everything we've got. We put everything we had staffed on the road immediately driving. Helicopters were flying, USAR rigs were driving, bulldozers were moving because we knew they needed help. I put all those resources up there and was sitting with OES demobbing some of them 48 hours later, and they still didn't have resource reports, or resource request. I demobbed a USAR team 3 days later that never got a resource request. Now the resource request was placed. I talked to the folks in the EOC and at Santa Barbara County. It was placed that first morning. They have the email of it going into Ross, but when it hit the system didn't know. How do you order a heavy USAR team? How do you order a loader or a bulldozer or a swift water flood fighting task force? What the hell is that? So they never sent the orders. So the orders never came through. So had we been sitting in the Bay Area waiting, those orders would have never come. There would have been people trapped in their houses. There would have been people drowning in mud. There would have been people waiting for rescues, and the orders wouldn't have come. And we would have sat and waited. And that's not acceptable. And we have to look at that and go, that's not acceptable for our people. That's the people we serve demand better. We have it internally, we have it locally. It works, closest unit dispatching, automatic vehicle locating, great comm systems, great tactical. We have it in our own. But when it comes to protecting our neighbors, which is what we do best, we don't have it. We miss. We built a good tool. In 1973, when FIRESCOPE came together and said we need to do things better, we did. We built a common operating VHF platform, right, so we could all talk. We built national standard threads so we could all hook up hose together. We standardized fire trucks. We standardized resources. We created ICS. We did some good work back in the 70s. Since then, we've perfected what we did, and we've worked on things like hillside firefighting, night flying. We've created HIMS teams and REMS teams and PEMS teams. We've done them, but we haven't addressed the big pictures. So now we're looking, going resource ordering, common operating platforms, and common data and situational awareness. That's what we owe our folks. So that's what we're going to start working on. The resource ordering pieces, like I said, that's huge, and it's taken on legs of its own. Cal OES and Chief Zagaris has taken lead on that, as I'm sure most of you have been following, and I know a lot of the chiefs and agencies in this room are represented in the de-risk program that's going forward, where I-Chiefs, Cal Chiefs, FIRESCOPE, League of Cities, District Chiefs, Metro Chiefs, and I'm sure there's more I'm forgetting. They've all come together, they've all grabbed their legislators, and they've gone to the legislative body of California and said, we need help, we need money. We need $100 million a year. We need to overhaul the resource ordering system for one, and we need to give local agencies the ability to upstaff, which as a CAL FIRE contract county, we get to do that. We have the ability to pull funds from the state to upstaff when we have an emergency coming. Well, we know local municipalities don't have that same ability. That it's expensive to stand up a Type 3 IMT. It's expensive to stand up an extra strike team when you know you have weather coming. So if we know the weather's coming, we know the resources will be valued, we know those resources can help keep incidents smaller where we're hitting burn rates of $1 million a day, why wouldn't we want to fund that? When you look at the money the state and the feds are spending on their east side of fighting fire and taking care of these emergencies, it's astronomical. So the legislators are looking at it as a good investment. We'll invest today, so we're not buying porta potty sandwiches and helicopters tomorrow. It's a good investment. So that's the other piece that we're looking at. And we're hoping that in talking with Chief Muncie and talking with the Cal Chiefs folks that we can get together and at least have a common vision of where this is going. And as Cal Chiefs is talking to legislators and Cal Chiefs is talking to each other, and they sit on the same boards between Metro Chiefs and Cal Chiefs and I-Chiefs, that we're having one conversation, that we're saying, why can't we do better? And from the FIRESCOPE side, that's what we're doing. We're asking, why can't we do better? And we're going to produce the documents. We're going to produce the scope of work and the roadmap for what that looks like, and then share it with everybody. And we'll see where it goes. And hopefully at some point, 10 years from now, when we're looking through VF goggles and roasting marshmallows, we go, huh, we did something better. Well, what's next? Let's do something new. That's our piece. That's the piece we're working on now. That's the piece we're working on today. That's the piece Chief Muncie was kind enough to give me some of your time this morning to come down and discuss. And that's really all I have for those two things. So I have time for questions, which I know is my only slide I have. So if anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them. I haven't gotten any of my time, so good, perfect. I'm good to answer any questions if anybody has them. How about any thoughts? How about the open discussion? You guys are, I mean, I see these same people. We go to the same fires. We sit on the same committees. We have the same pain points. We have the tech folks in the room. Are there any thoughts on things we could be doing different? Questions we could be asking? Yes, sir.
You mentioned a lot about resources coming in. Do you also think there's a role for how you can use the same technology faster than we currently do? We have sort of two sides. We give them away, and then they go there for a really long time, so we're sort of hesitant to do that.
Okay, so thank you for the softball, because I wasn't going to bring this up, because this is taking it to the next level. This is where we're trying to sell this to our state and federal land partners. Strike teams are expensive. They're expensive to sit, and we all know Alpha strike teams are ordered for structured defense. They'll come in and sit at staging, then they'll go out and sit at a forward operating post. They'll go out and sit in a neighborhood, and then on day 4, they'll do 4 hours of really good structured defense, and then they'll go back and they'll sit, and then they'll go back and they'll wait, and then they'll go back out and do it again. It's an inefficient use of resources at $50,000 a day. It draws resources away from the communities they're sworn to protect. It makes firefighting more difficult. So what if we had this system that was agile enough for an incident commander and running an incident in let's go the foothills between Glendale, Burbank, Pasadena, the Angeles, let's put a fire in there where they order the equipment they need for perimeter control, and then every day they know they need a surge of resources to do structure protects during a known burn period, because we know when the fire picks up. If it's a wind-driven fire, we know when the winds are going to blow and the direction it's going to go. If it's topographical, weather-driven fire, we know when that's going to happen. What if the incident commander said, I need 10 strike teams every day from noon until 6 p.m.? We know the order. We know we're going to pay for them by ABH, so the chiefs know they're getting paid. We know because we have an accountability system, there's 3 strike teams out of LA County, there's 6 strike teams out of LA City, there's 4 strike teams out of Verdugo, there's 4 strike teams out of Ventura. We know the strike teams are there. So we dispatch them, we put them en route, we give them all the information that we have. They get an in-cab briefing, they get an in-cab IAP, they get an in-cab presentation of where they're going. They meet face-to-face with their geographical commander. They get an in-brief. They do structure protection or defense for that known burn period. The threat diminishes it. They pull out and they go home. It can be captured. Their time is captured when they went en route. Their time is captured when they went available quarters. We can bill for it. We can track it. We can resource it. And we can be way more efficient with the movement of apparatus, the ordering of apparatus, and be much more fiscally responsible. So it is an end state vision that we can do that. I was joking with somebody yesterday that we'll be able to put on VF goggles and watch an in-brief as we drive into a fire at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, get a good solid in-brief, and then go to work. Is that too far-fetched? Yeah, I heard one yes. We'll work on it. Anything else? Thank you for that question, by the way. That's somewhere we'd really like to get. Okay. Thanks, man.